Dan, I think I tore a quad.
Today's heavy squat day, and I've got someone from your mum's favourite channel is on the camera today. You're going to say hello to us. But anyway, he's going to be recording, but also something about having a strong person recording. Sometimes I might get him to put the camera down and spot me and all of those things, so it's a bloody two-in-one. Anyhow, today's heavy squats, and I'm a little bit nervous because last phase was kind of like a bit of an unload for my squats so that I could focus on pushing my deadlifts forward. So if you've been following, I haven't posted it yet, but I will be. I did a 310 kilogram single. That was my goal, was to just get to a 310 kilogram single and then get my heavy deadlifts out of the way. Now my deadlifts are going to be on, like supplementary mode. So that's going to be my back down work, but I'm focusing on bringing my squat back again. So my last phase, my heaviest that I got to was 270 kilograms for 2 reps paused. And that's considered light, even though it's not light, and it's very stressful. If you watch how I train and get my head focused for my lifts, I am very stressed the entire session. And today's not going to be any different. In fact, it's going to be a little bit more stressful because now my priority is my squats. So I've been negotiating some numbers with Reese, the cameraman. If you didn't know that was his name, do they know that's your name?
No, probably not.
Oh, they do now. That's Reese. and he's got a lot of valuable insight. He's a 410 kilogram squatter.
415, sir.
415. Sorry to rip you off 5 kilograms.
5 is a lot.
Every kilogram counts, yeah. And 415 is a lot. So I love running my ideas of strong people. So it's very handy. And I had a few numbers in mind. And we're going to see. So like loosely, it was kind of like around like 250 for 5-ish or 270 for 3-ish. We're kind of tossing up between those two. Like 270 sounds harder, but 3 reps sounds easier, if you get me. 5 reps sounds horrible. Anyhow, so I would like to get 270 for 3. And that's what I love about being on camera, is like you guys hold me accountable. Like when I'm not on camera, I go, oh yeah, it's nice to have the idea of doing 270 for 3. And then as I'm going, it's like, oh, it's quite heavy. No one will know. You know what I mean? Anyway, you guys will know. So I guess we've made up our mind, 270 kilograms for 3 reps. That's exhausting. Anyhow, so I've done some warm-ups, and now I'm going to be doing my first set with a plate on there. So we're going to be doing 5 reps today. And while we go, I'm going to talk about some cues, as I do, and just some new interactions that I've had. On the weekend, I did a seminar in Perth, and I noticed a few cues that I like to give for myself, but don't always apply so well for beginners and intermediates. Okay, so that's something that I'm kind of encountering. Like I've got my rules that I like to follow for my squats that I look for. But then, working with people that are kind of like new to these techniques, I'm going to get a little bit technical with what happens with your, like where you look and how it influences your spine and how that influences your butt wink and all of these things. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. So check this out. So look at where I hold the bar. That's because I've got very, very tight shoulders. So if anyone's wondering and say, aren't you meant to hold it close? I promise you, this is me holding it close. I can't go closer than this. Not yet. I've got to warm up a little. So check this out. Okay, so one of the cues that I like to teach is to look straight ahead. And that's not relative to spine position, but rather balance. But I'm noticing that many people, when they look up, they pick their chest up too much, and they arch like this when they look up. And when they arch like that, they go into butt wink at the bottom, right? So what I've learned is I've got the ability to lift my head up in absence of what I do here. I can separate these two things. So what I say with my brace is to piss up the wall. Head up, so looking straight ahead. Piss up the wall so you're not arching your tail backwards. Right? So this is the interesting thing that I've noticed when I'm working with a beginner. It's kind of like the rules kind of change when I'm teaching them. So something that I was helping a lot of times with beginners is the cue look down. And you may have heard the cue chest up before. I was actually cueing all weekend to all of these individuals that are arching back like this. Chest down. So that was my cue, chest down. Don't fear tipping forward. Right? In a low bar squat, there is forward torso lean. You might hear, if you ever hear me screaming behind any of my top lifters, I scream out, upright, upright, upright. Now that's a cue that's unique to my super strong lifters. So if I'm standing behind Reese, who's about to squat 415 kilograms, the moment he unracks it, it wants to crush him. So he's fighting to hold it upright. Now upright relative to his position. There is always going to be forward torso lean. Right? So when I say upright, I'm not after this. Like that's impossible to achieve. Right? So there's always going to be some type of forward torso lean. So the cue of upright, this is where cueing, you need to understand that there's no such thing as a right cue and a wrong cue. It's the cue that resonates with the individual that you're giving it to. Okay, so you might hear people say chest up. That might be unique to the person that it's being told to. But I was giving the cue to a lot of people, chest down. So anyway, what's the context to all of this? There is forward torso lean in a low bar squat. There is forward torso lean, and don't be scared of that. The more forward torso lean there is, the more you're going to recruit your strong hips. And that's totally fine. However, once you get to a point where you're squatting triple body weight, right? That's when it gets a little bit harder and the focus comes more to balancing that bar on your back and not getting crushed forward rather than, using the hip hinge or whatever those cues are going to be. So anyway, understand, I'm going to go through all of the cues today that I'm going to be following, as well as introduce a few caveats to how it might apply to beginners and intermediates, just so that whoever's viewing it at home can, maybe something relates to you and you can learn a little bit from today. Anyhow, so far so good. That's 70 kilograms. I'm going to go up in 25 kilogram jumps. Let's go.
So that feels strange. The last phase I was doing pause reps. So I taught myself to go pretty slow. And now it's like, oh, you got to not do that anymore. So now actually, a cue that I teach with speed is to start slow and gradually accelerate in and out of the hole. So something you got to think about is, this is 95 kilograms. So it's not that heavy. So it's easy for me to use whatever tempo I want. The next thing you got to think about is what's the tempo you're going to use on the top set. So when I get to 270 kilograms, I'm not going to just be able to jump around. I've got to really control it and guide it the way that I want to do it. So that's why right now I want to practice for that. So instead of just dumping the bar really fast because it's really light and disregarding technique, I'm going to think of what's the technique and speed that I'm going to be using for my top set. And the goal is start slow and gradually accelerate in and out of the hole, right? So some people teach fast down equals fast up. That's the law of kinetic energy, and it's true if you're like a tennis ball, right? But the thing is, we're not tennis balls, and we're controlling very, very heavy weights. And actually at that weight, the barbell, it bounces a little bit. So we need to really balance it so it doesn't shake us out of position. So that's why you can't just drop as fast as possible. So precision matters, right? So that's why. That's my rule. Start slow and gradually accelerate in and out of the hole. And that's what I've got to try and relearn from now. So as I said, my last phase was pause squats. There was none of that. It was down slowly and stopping and coming up, which is great stimulus. It teaches you to be strong in absence of momentum. But now, in a competition, you can use momentum to your advantage. And that's my favorite way of doing it. So that's what you're going to see me relearning and practicing the skill of as I'm warming up, so that hopefully I can do it on my top set. All right. So look at my fingers now. I'm trying to bring my hands in a little bit because the first set is really tight, and I get warmer and warmer and I try and bring my hands in. Right, so now this is the first grip that I use. It's the talon grip, so it's 3 fingers. And that makes it just a little bit more comfortable for my shoulders. But watch this, it's the first set of hands on the bar. It's very tight. Oh man, damn. Okay. So it's especially tight on my shoulder because I just benched yesterday as well. So those are things that we need to factor in. Other than that, it feels good. 25 kilos up, 145. Feels good. It's like the hardest part of the lift is unracking, walking out, lowering it. I want to lower it really precisely. You know, so what does precise mean? I'm aiming for the barbell to land in line with my midfoot, right? So I want it to land here. If I'm tipping too far forward and it's, you know, away from my midfoot, that's harder for me. So if I land on the sweet spot, it comes up nicely. So that's what I feel. It's like, this is heavy. Walk out, this is hard, tight on my shoulders. Okay, this is hard, and then I just go, that was easy. So that's a nice feeling, I guess. The important part is the up part, and that's feeling easy. So 170, I got 100 kilograms to go. Motherfucker. I don't know if we should. That's so annoying. Do you know why? Everyone's gonna say, you should have known, why are you using that rack, all these things. I forgot to screw that in, yes. Right? So when I screw that in, it's tight and it's strong and all that stuff. Silly Billy. Anyway, lucky that was only on the 195. I'll screw that in and then we'll keep on going. Silly Billy. So I got 2 more warm-ups, so that's 220, and it's feeling heavy, but it always does, you know? Like you think, you know, just as you know, as you get stronger, that everything is much easier. Everything still feels hard. So, you know, coming down on that last set, 195, it's like, I'm noticing, I'm having to recondition myself to the speed. I underestimated it, and I'm moving quite slowly, actually. So anyway, that is what it is. So 220 next. My shoulders are starting to feel a little bit looser. So what I'm going to be doing, have a look here. So if my hands were kind of here, so that's the talon grip. I want to try and bring them in slightly so it makes it more tension on my upper back. And the goal is to wedge it down really, really low on my delts. So it's a really aggressive low bar position. That's another little thing that I kind of work towards on my heavier sets. So this is what I like to say. Imagine this is your deltoid. So on a low bar squat, the barbell needs to sit on your delt. So that's the big round muscle at the back of your shoulder. So that's a low bar squat. So this is me at the start of the session. And then as I get warmer and warmer and warmer, I wedge the bar lower, 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 lower. So it's about there. What I say is once you pass that halfway point, you're off the shelf. So as long as you stay just above, like you'll see it and you'll feel it. Just above that midline of the belly of the deltoid, that's where I try and get right now. So the lower you can get it, the more you can use your hips. So I put up a video not long ago. There's a few really great French lifters. There's one in particular, she's unbelievable. 47 kilo chick, Turbo Tiff, shout out. 165 kilogram squat world record. Maybe she's even stronger than that now, it's unreal, but she goes quite low. She's under that and her hands in are really, really tight. So I guess that's allowed, but that's a very strong lever. For me, that negatively impacts my bench press. So the lower you have it, the more strain you put on your shoulders, and then it affects how you perform your upper body exercises. Anyhow, So for me, that's what I'm aiming for. I'm gonna really wedge it down so it's gonna get tighter and tighter and tighter so that I can use my strong hips for this lift. All right, let's do it.
Let's go. Come back. Let's get it. Come on. Fight.
All right. Oh, tight on the shoulders, all right? Okay, 220, one more warm-up set, which is gonna be 245, and then we're on.
Come on, baby, let's get it.
Okay. Felt heavy, but it felt comfortable at the same time. I feel like I know what to do to get the 270 for a triple, and that's push really, really, really hard 3 times. That's the thing. It's gonna hurt, you know? It's gonna hurt. But then I walk away, so that's my favorite part of the session, is walking away, looking at it going, yeah, I'm glad I did that, and I'm glad that's done. So we're gonna do 270 next. Let me have a look at, let's have a look at the replay of this. So it's not particularly fast. Yeah, it was all right. You know, I can feel the bar shaking now, which is me being silly by using the bumper plates. That's my little thing where I use the bumper plates because it looks heavier. It's more impressive. I like the feeling of that. But objectively, it's a little bit harder because the further out to the ends the weight goes, the more the barbell bends, which is another advantage of using the thinner plates. There's less whip, there's less bend, which I don't like to go above 270 with bumpers. I have before, but it's ugly. It shakes a lot. And 270 is probably gonna move a lot, but that's okay. And then next week, if I'm exploring weights like 280 and plus, I'm gonna go the calibrated thin plates. But for now, 270 and bumpers. Come on, come on.
Go back. Breathe. Oh. Let's go. Come on. Right. Let's go. Drive.
Damn. I think I tore a quad. Yeah. Damn it. Yeah. Fucker. Yeah, it just went pop on the second rep. Did you say you heard it? You probably didn't. She's being dramatic. Did you hear that? I definitely felt it did do that. It just went pop. I felt it on the first rep. I didn't feel it pop. I felt the strain, and then on the second rep it just went dunk, which is frustrating. Damn. You know, it's strange because I feel like I could have stood the second rep up. But then I thought, if I do, it'll probably make it worse, which means maybe it's not like a tear. I don't know. Like something popped, and I've had it before. So who knows what'll happen? I'll probably know in about a couple of hours when my adrenaline wears down. Damn. Anyway. All right, it's been like 2 minutes since I dropped the weight. and you know, it's not that painful. I don't think it's anything major, but a lot of the times when the adrenaline's high, you can't feel it so well. So this is what I teach people, is if you have like a minor injury or whatever it is, just stop, don't try and push through. And I say, 24 hours, do nothing, right? So absolutely no stretching. So if you tear a muscle, imagine it, you tear a muscle and then you stretch it. What do you think is going to happen? Nothing good. This is where you can increase the size of the tear, right? So tearing is definitely not what you do. Stretching is definitely not what you do after a tear. And you do nothing. So not even ice. So there's like the first aid protocol these days, which is RICE. Rest, ice, compression, elevate. The person who invented that took the ice component out of it. So nowadays, the recommendation isn't to ice it either. It's just to let it be. So that's what I'm going to be doing, is I'm just going to leave it for 24 hours. I'm not going to do any accessory exercises. And psychologically, I'll tell you now, I'll be a little bit upset if there's something that's going to stop me from moving forward. Not long ago, I did something similar to my hamstring. It was like a very minor tear on my hamstring, and I worked through it kind of like 2 weeks later. I was deadlifting again, not as heavy, of course, but it took maybe a month to get back to where I was. So I don't think it's that bad of a tear that it's going to, it's not career-ending type of thing. I think it's something that I just need to be mindful of and just back off for a few weeks. But here's the next thing. So 24 hours. So this is my recommendation for injuries. 24 hours, do absolutely nothing. And then when you think you can, start, loading the exact muscle without pain. So that could mean, for me, less than body weight squats. So I'd probably start loading it in a day or so, just to see what the damage is on an empty leg press, and just do high reps on that. Same with any muscle tear that's not like, so that if it's a tear, it might not be. If it's a tear, that's called a grade 1 tear, which is where everything's still attached. It's definitely not come off the bone. If it was off the bone, I couldn't walk. So it's definitely not that. So if it's any of those, these recommendations that I'm giving you do not apply, right? So if it's a grade 1 tear or some little strain like that in the belly, 24 hours, do nothing. After that, the way that I do it, I'm not telling anyone at home to do it, I'm not a physiotherapist. The way that I do it is I start training the exact muscle that I've injured with a very, very light weight. So for example, like a bench press, I've torn my pecs with a very, very minor grade tear. And the next day come in and I go empty barbell for sets of 20. And then every day come in and add 5 kilograms to that. So 5 aside, so 20 kilograms, 30 kilograms, 40 kilograms, every single day, sets 20. And the strange thing is, like the day later, 20 kilograms, I was able to do that with no pain. And then, but if I was to go 30 kilograms that day, it hurt me a little bit, right? So that's the indicator. So if anything hurts, this is how I do it for myself. I'm not telling you guys to do it. If anything hurts, you stop. That's an indicator of it is too heavy. So that's what I'll do, is I'll come in tomorrow and I'll do some leg press with very, very light weight, lots and lots and lots of reps, like 5 sets of 20. And then the next day I'll come in and I'll add a little bit of weight and I'll do the same thing. And then I'll keep on doing that. And that's going to give me a really big indication of how bad the actual damage is. But anyway, I just looked back at the replay of the squat as well, and I dropped it on my way up. So as I was saying, I felt like I can still stand, but I felt it pop and I don't want to do anything silly now. So it is what it is. But that's the end of the session. So no more training. Until next time, fam, which is going to be upper body day, so that won't interfere with what I do for my bench press. So I'll come back for some upper body, and then hopefully I'll be good to go for my lower body session on the next time, but it'll just be like rehab stuff. Anyway, hope you enjoyed watching me tear my quad, and I'll see you guys next time.